All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back. It's Lucid, and I got another turn here with middle-aged Rlyeh. Middle-aged Rlyeh, not middle-aged. Most of the Rlyehs are actually pretty young. We're only 50 or 100 years out of 200, or in the case of like these guys, a sprightly 1,300 out of 3,000. Hardly middle age. Still in the peak of their youth. Okay, so we have a new turn. Not a lot happened. We attacked here. This was just with this Lobo Guard chat. And yeah, there's hardly anybody in this province, so we just take it. And then here, we caught a scout. So that's not a ton going on this turn. Probably should pause and wait for the next turn. But we did get a greater otherness. So these are really cool. These are one of the better things you can get. We're moving it out. They're really, really good. So they regen. They're mindless. They have all the resistances. So they're resistant to everything on top of 12 protection. They're really, really good. And they have 0 encumbrance. So they just trample, 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 trample. For us, their combat speed's okay. It's 10, but we can put quickness on them and then they really trample. We could also try to hit them. They're a pretty good candidate for getting Stone Skin put on them as well, because they've got 15 built-in cold resistance. So Stone Skin will put this guy up at like 20 protection. And then, because they're going to get super out of position running around hitting stuff, but they'll regen for a good bit. They have really bad attack and defense, so they're always basically going to get hit. But these are totally worth like point buffing as thugs. They're really, really good. So we're going to go ahead and ferry him up here to get ready for the Oceania fight. Yeah, so that's it for, I think, the other thing is, if you recall last episode, we were talking about getting Iru to make us a stone bird. Well, clearly that won't be happening. So that's a little unfortunate. We're going to talk first about what we're doing this turn, and then we're going to talk about diplomacy, because some things happened on land. Okay, so basically, we were thinking maybe they would attack here. They didn't. They had a big army here, or well, basically these guys had been here, and they moved them here. I'm pretty sure what they're doing is they're waiting for Conjuration 5, and they're going to roll out. And this army is probably going to roll out somewhere, like down this way, or maybe up this way. It's hard to say. It's also possible that he wants to try to pop this. So we're actually going to stay here and patrol, but I realize this is enough stuff. It's 30 Myrmidons, and I think I've been saying Myrmidians. But there's no I here, so it's Myrmidons. Anyway, I think Myrmidian sounds better, but what if I just do that the rest of the series? But so these guys, they could come on land, they could come over here, they could combine. There's also some Myrmidons here. So they could combine and pretty easily take out this PD. He probably has a scout here, and so probably knows that I'm about to storm this fort, because we did break it this turn. So this would be a pretty safe turn to assume I don't like all in or something right here. And the other thing is, because I'm really not going to be able to make a stone bird, there's really not going to be a time in the near future where I can use my god to jump on his main army unless it has no mage support, because big water elementals will kill me. So I think this is a pretty good use of him, is just start using him to pick off counter raiding, and basically to try to get Oceania to have to use larger and larger commitments just for the raiding game. Because basically I want to get him to try to get his mages out and like feeling like he has to do something aggressive rather than just sitting there. And I don't want to come at him where he can like pull all the mages from here and all the mages from here and have like a big fight outside his capital, which he'll certainly win. So anyway, that's kind of how I'm thinking about it now. We're going to go also raid over this way. Now, I will say this also about teleporting my god here. So hopefully there's risks. We could lose the god, right? So if he moves this army north, this is probably 5 enemy dominion. If he moves an army north and it has water elementals, we'll most certainly die. So I think this script will do pretty well. Like this script will probably time out this army if it doesn't have water elementals, like big water elementals. So yeah, I think it basically depends. If he moves out this big stack and it has mages with water elementals, our god's going to die next turn. If he moves north, I don't think that's a great move. There's no real reason. Like, if he takes this province back from me, he'll need to kind of move the big army because I could potentially kill him if I were just so happening to roll out that turn. But if he goes north, there's no real reason to, unless he's going to just try to march up here and take Yes from me, which is a move he could make. Like, if he moved this whole stack, I don't think I would be able to stop him except with my god from him taking Yes. The problem if he does that is, of course, I'll take his capital, right? Because, like, if he moves this army out, these guys will be right here ready to knock down the cap. And with the god, it shouldn't really be much trouble. So that's kind of the thinking. I did not want to do this originally. Like, my plan was not to be using my god to pick off small 30 squad raiders. This is not like a great use of the god turn. But what I'm suspecting is that I might as well go ahead and reveal I have teleport, and it's probably not going to get a ton better. Like, I'm probably not going to be able to fight this with big water elementals. So if I can't do that, there's not really a huge amount of value in continuing to deny information. My god can teleport and stuff like this. Yeah, it's kind of dangerous. I mean, the other thing too is these sirens are stealthy. Wait, are they? They might not be stealthy in the underwater form. No, they are. So because of that, there could be these guys like invisible in this. And then when I teleport, they pop up and they're, spamming water elementals at me. If there's enough guys, as long as we can route the guys, it'll route the army, then it's okay. But anyway, there's going to be a lot of risks. I don't know how much we're going to be able to do this. This will change again, by the way, once I get battlefield wipes, which the main one for me is going to be Foul Vapors. Foul Vapors is just pretty good for us in general. But yeah, so we're going to just use our god, I think, for picking off armies. There's another, okay, until we get Foul Vapors. There's another thing is Oceania, I think, could have maybe like two major targets that they're going for. One is Conjuration 5, which I've talked about. The other is Foul Vapors for them. While they don't have like a poison resistance bless, it is a way they could like this like strategy I was doing where I have all my illithids bunched up and it's like, come and get me. That strategy is not very good against Foul Vapors if his army's protected and I'm not. So if one of us gets Foul Vapors and we're also doing Poison Ward and stuff, then that person will likely win a major army fight. The benefit that I have is my god can jump on that army, and if he can Quagmire it for 100 turns, the Foul Vapors will kill itself. So I'm not really worried about that from them. So our research continues to be Conjuration 5, then Enchantment 3 for things like Astral Shield and stuff, then Construction 1, then Enchantment 4. This is going to give us Ritual of Returning, which is going to be really important, but there's a good chance we run right up to Enchantment 6. Because we can also use Foul Vapors to like go on land or stuff if we run that high up. I'm not really sure what my goals will be for research beyond this, because it's going to depend a lot on the pace of the game, like which direction this is going in, and which nations it's looking like I'm going to have to fight. So on that, I think we're going to, well, I'll cover a few more things for turn movement. We're attacking this. These guys are probably going to die. We're going here. Oh, so after our god moves here, the planned move is to go back on top of this fort and then come back to this lab. But I can also do returning on him if I feel like I need to. So that's just sort of what things are looking like. So that's this. We're storming this castle. And here's basically the script. It's kind of cool. We have this guy off in the corner so he doesn't draw buff aggro. And then we've got Meteorite Guard. They're on hold and attack. And then we've got this guy who's going to do Body Ethereal on them. Oh, wait, I must not have saved this. He's going to do it 3 times and then advance and cast. And that should keep him right behind them where he just continues to paint buffs on them. That should be able to take this if there's nothing inside, which I sort of don't think there is. We're going to go move these Siege Chaff groups from here and here to start gearing up to take Yes. Taking this out is going to help secure this island for me for a few more turns and give me a good bit more income. So that's really nice. And then we're going to keep patrolling this. The other reason I was really tempted to do this is there's a decent chance that he combines both of these armies in Deep Sea. And if he does that, this attack will not only kill this army, but potentially might cause him to like suicide his mages, which he would be bringing with this, or at least the troops in here. So, that's kind of exciting. That has the potential to happen. We're taking this. We're also doing a few other moves. We're going up here onto land. We've got this guy buffing with ethereal, and then these illithids are going to be jumping in here. I think this guy is kind of needed in case we run into a PD dump. So we're going to go here and then here. We're also starting to try to get the cave system. So there's just kind of crappy pale ones here. So we're going to be coming in with these guys. I've got this guy again doing body ethereal on the meteorite guard. They're on hold and attack, and then they'll run in. I don't know what's here, but I'm thinking if I can take this, if this isn't too hard, like 50 cavemen. If this is 50 cavemen, we're probably going to have to just walk back out. But at least we'll pick up 50, 60 gold. But if this is something that I can take, then the plan is we march on Mines of Despair and maybe connect it up with these guys, who hopefully will have successfully stormed this fort and then can march out here and then meet them. Otherwise, these guys are probably, like, if I can't go down here because of this, I probably will have these guys march to the surface, and then they'll probably move from here out towards ES, or maybe come raid up here and start taking some of this coastal land. And yeah, we'll just leave this be, both those other ones, till we have a bit bigger army, probably till after we've taken Yes. So those are kind of the thoughts. But it would be really nice to also get these cave systems here, which are basically Oceania caves. Where's the other one? Yeah, oh, right. The connection is through here. So, we could technically go down here and then march through and then pop up here. The ghouls will absorb Mind Blast. They're not mindless. So this squad wouldn't take it. We'd have to have like a little bit more significant of a force. But yeah, basically that's the plan. We want to just start continuing to bleed Oceania out, make it where they feel like they need to do things, right? I don't want to just let them sit, but if they do things, then they get punished for it. That's kind of the feeling we're going for. And then, but we're not trying to kill them. I think if we take this army, which we've been getting a lot of, this actually would be really useful to have in the main army. We're actually going underground. Oh wait, no, they're not going here. They're grouping up. So over here, we're actually going to have a fair amount of guys. We're having nine illithid soldiers, and then 11 meteorite guard here, 6 here, so that's 17. And then, so we're looking at close to 40 meteorite guard here, in addition to about 60 illithid soldiers. So that's pretty good. We're getting a few more of these guys here. I think our big armies are going to be something. This is sort of how I'm imagining it. Like, not the army, maybe the army we used to kill Oceania, but I'm expecting it'll be about 100 illithid soldiers, probably like another 100 or maybe 200 meteorite guard. And then I'll probably have piles of siege chaff that I like, Lobo guard, that I just like move around to help pop forts, but that I try to keep out of battle. That's sort of how I think about it. Yeah, there's probably a few more things we can talk about for research, as my mind is kind of shifting. So I mentioned going up enchantment for, what should I call it? Foul Vapors. But there's also other pretty good things here. Winter Ward can be good, and Grip of Winter. This can also be done underwater. So yeah, we can potentially do like cold targeting attacks where we're doing like Frost Ward, Water Ward on ourselves. Oceania can also do this on us. And then we try to, freeze everybody. We are a heat nation, so I think Oceania is too. So that probably won't work very well. It'll be of limited effectiveness. It'll still work underwater and a long battle. So anyway, that's one thing. Where are we? The other one that's really big, this can be like kind of decisive in a lot of fights, is Water Ward. It's really good. It's going to give 5 defense, which is going to dramatically improve most units. It would be really good on his units. In some ways, I think like Enchantment 6 it's a really appealing target for winning early wars. We also get Friendly Currents, and I actually kind of forget the effect of this. Let me put it in combat. Or wait, let me see if I have Loggy's mod. Okay, so I pulled Dominions 5 up here, because I don't think Loggy's mod exists yet for Dominion 6, but Friendly creatures gain 4 combat speed and -2 encumbrance. Enemies suffer -4 combat speed and +2 endurance or encumbrance. So I guess if both sides have it, it cancels out. But this is potentially huge. Like the encumbrance reduction is really, really nice. So this is also really big. So in enchantment, I'm getting potentially the ability to do cold fatigue plays, potentially the ability to do friendly currents. I'm getting grip of winter and water ward, which is going to give me like a huge amount of defense. And then when you factor in like the encumbrance penalty, that's also sort of like effective defense in a longer battle. If we look at the other things we get here, we also, of course, are a nature nation. So we can do things like relief, which is really good with our mind blasters. There's some things that are not great about it. Like they're not all going to leave the mind blasting state at the same time. So they can sort of like trickle in. But I think when you have critical mass of mind blasters, this is a good thing to have. If you're dealing with like smaller squads, it actually probably could be counterproductive where you're relying more on the point buffing. Yeah, foul vapors. Oh wait, this is. Let me go back to Dominion 6. I'm in Dominions 5. Okay, I've got the right list now. Would be cool if Serpent Fang arrows worked on the mind blasts. I'm pretty sure it doesn't though. Not affect magical weapons, which certainly is mind blasts. And then, yeah, relief, foul vapors. These are the big ones. Foul vapor. The reason I noticed it occurred to me again, we were in Dominions 5 is foul vapors was level 5 in Dominions 5, and now it's level 6 in Dominion 6. So let's look at Glamour real quick too. What is this? Prevents unrest -2d5. That's kind of cool. Let's see what else. Gift of Splendor, Horrible Visage. Shroud of Bewilderment. This only affects the caster, but it's super cool. There's like maybe a way we could make our god a slave and then do this on him. I don't know. Probably a bad idea. 6 would be the other thing we'd be getting. Fey-Eyed Warriors. We don't need Spirit Sight. Aura of Splendor. Dome of Misdirection. Nothing really super useful here. And then Earth is the other one. This potentially could be pretty good. Giant Strength Warriors would be really nice. It'd be nice if we had some Earth income, though. And then at 6, get Earthquake Warriors, which we have piercing attacks, I think. I don't think that works there. Enliven Statues. Yeah, there's no way we're going to be casting any of those. So, yeah, really, it's those water things that would be really nice. There are other cool things we're going to get as we go up Conjuration, like having access to Sea Serpents is going to be pretty cool. These guys have fear and they can wade now, so they're sort of better. I don't really know if it's going to fit in. I was talking with Darkside Cookies about it. But yeah, anyway, that's mostly it for the research and stuff we were talking about this turn for us. But there's a bunch of things that have been happening on land. So I had mentioned I'd been keeping you in the loop on the happenings of Ashdod. So Ashdod was having their cap sieged, and he killed everything on top of it. So all the chaff and stuff is gone. So that's really good. Ashdod's not losing their cap. They up here had another fort near Asphodel. They were trying to storm, and apparently Asphodel had a decision. They had a big army in their cap. They could keep that army in the cap, or they could ride out, or an army near their cap, right? So the army could like defend the capital or defend the smaller fort. And the logical explanation is expect the army to defend the capital. So what happened was Asphodel stormed that fort, and Agartha, who was on their capital, did not. They pinged it instead to see what's inside. They didn't want to get stuck, like potentially fighting a big army inside or things like that. Well, turns out the army went, and a lot of times it's also really dangerous to storm a fort the same turn you're expecting a big battle outside the fort. Because like what can happen is like a lot of your guys were out or something, but maybe you clutch the fort outside, but you have like only mages left, and then the mages storm the fort alone and then die. So anyway, there are reasons that Agartha chose not to storm and instead ping. Turns out there was nothing inside. It was totally empty. If Agartha stormed, they would have made it. Asphodel didn't take their army, didn't ride it into the cap. Instead, they rode it into Ashdod. And riding it into Ashdod, they killed a lot of the stuff. Ashdod was keen to remind me there was nothing too critical, but Ashdod won the fight. So even though he lost a ton of stuff, they won the fight, but then they stormed the fort. And again, it was this problem of like, okay, you're storming a fort, but now with like a few idiots because the army's dispersed and all these things. And he failed to take the fort and then lost some more stuff. So I think the wind has been taken out of Ashdod's sails in this theater, and it seems like Agartha is very well set up to like potentially try to storm the capital this turn. What that means is it means I'm much more likely to be facing Agartha as like the major, because if we're looking at it, there's a lot of nations that are gone now. So the nations that can really go underwater are Asphodel, Agartha, Yama a little bit, Alba, and then that's it. Of these, a lot of them have been eliminated now. So Shiniyama's dead. Zabalba apparently is dying. That's the word I'm getting from somebody who is fighting them. So they're dying. I think they're dying to Nidavangur. Then maybe, or no, to Jotunheim. They're dying to Jotunheim. That was what Jotunheim told me. So of course Jotunheim may be biased, but anyway. So there's not going to be a ton of people left. It's basically, and then these guys are fighting. So probably one or the other is going to win. So I'm either really going to be fighting, like for nations that can come and get me underwater. We're looking at basically Asphodel or Agartha, and they're very different to fight. They're, Agartha is going to be, I think, stronger underwater. Like if Agartha just wanted to push through Asphodel and come fight me, he could. I'd have to fight these guys who are really, really hard to kill. Or not just hard to kill. I mean, they're pretty all around like solid units, good HP, good protection, but they also have a ton of MR. Like these guys are definitely capable of coming and killing me. The other thing is later in the game, they'll get statues, which are really good. I love Middle Age Agartha. Those statues also would be, they have high MR as well. So a lot of the astral stuff we'd be doing to fuck with them, these guys are pretty resistant to. And they also have dark vision and stuff. So a lot of things we'd be doing with like trying to get darkness up or twilight up or something, these guys are resistant to. So that is one last thing. Let me pull up. Where's twilight again? Is it conjuration? Oh, I think it must be alteration, right? Yeah, alt 4. Yeah, this is pretty big. I don't think you can, it cannot be cast underwater though. But yeah, I guess we have that spell now. Yeah, that's kind of cool. If we need to go on land, that could be pretty handy to have, though not really going to be very handy against Agartha. Because, like I was saying, they've got all this dark vision. Asphodel mostly would be their chaff coming underwater. And I think they have pretty good ways to kill all the chaff. But, well, no, I think the Minotaur and stuff also are amphibious. So, yeah, I would much prefer fighting. They're both pretty good against me. Like, I mean, good in the sense like they could potentially win a war. Like Asphodel, if they get big, could totally kick me out of the ocean. Agartha, if they get big, could totally kick me out of the ocean. Probably not if we're equal size, but maybe, it's a real thing. So I do have to be cautious about Agartha killing Asphodel and then sweeping in. But a lot of times you don't want to like do troop logistics through Asphodel, like it's depopulated land and stuff like that. I can't remember, does Agartha do they have the do not eat thing? Yeah, they need not eat. So actually for Agartha, they're not really too worried about moving stuff through Asphodel. But yeah, no, totally possible they could come try to fight us. That would be pretty unfortunate, but I think in general, this is just a really good situation for us. Most people are worried about all their neighbors attacking us. We know Nidavangur is not really going to attack us. We'll probably neighbor Nidavangur up here too at some point. Satis can't really attack us. Ashdod can't really attack us. I mean, they could try to take some of these holdings that we're going to be moving on land to get right now. But yeah, things are looking pretty sick. Our income is going up and up and up. So this is really nice. Army size continuing to grow. Basically right now, I think every turn that goes by is sort of a turn that's better for us as long as we keep the game state like this with Oceania. If we take this fort, this also is going to be huge. We're going to have the ability to make a ton more troops and reinforce this region, make more mages and reinforce this region. And then once we get Yis's capital, then we can really start applying like, game ending for Oceania pressure to them. Right now, it's just this strategy. Like, I I don't think there's a way we can just take our army and march at their cap. And so I think this strategy is best for that then. And it's also kind of good, like it worked out that like the one amphibious nation is across from the one guy that we're trying to kill. So like let's say these guys really did have a hard on against ocean, like the underwater system, and they just like march this way, they'd actually be sort of like helping me right now. So it's kind of funny. So I think that's it. We'll see you guys next time, but it should be fun. I mean, there's a decent chance we lose our god next turn. Very high chance we lose these guys. And then, you know, there's a chance we lose this. There's a chance we lose there's actually a fair amount happening. So next turn will be pretty exciting. We'll see if things go our way or if maybe they don't, and will be fun. So we'll see you guys then. Cheers.